Beautiful. Okay, so I'll just sort of give a start and I'll go to um, Kat and she can take it from there. But I want to welcome everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Grant Cameron, and today I have a guest that I've been looking for a number of years. This case that we're going to talk about today is one of the three. It's the best case I've ever seen. There are three major cases that I say are the best UFO sightings, most dramatic stories ever, and all three of them happened at Mount Shasta. And one was the 2014 Zendra event, the 2015 Zendra event, and the event we're going to talk about today is from 2020. And I want to welcome my co-host on this, who set this whole meeting up for me, Estrella, who I call Kat. And she's been very helpful to me over the years. She helped edit my books early on, and we've known each other for many, many years. We actually were at the event at Mount Shasta. And so I want to welcome her, and she can do the introduction of the story and our special guest today. Where are you from, Gerardo? What
I'm
country?
from Mexico, but I live in California.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. So, excellent. Okay, Kat, you want to jump in here and talk about what we're going to be talking about here today and why it's so important?
Yeah, this gathering was a surprise for me, and it just goes to show how things are connected in ways that we can never anticipate or imagine. You had interviewed a gentleman who in 2015 had gone down with Paula to the Zendra, and this event in 2020 was, and after he went to the Zendra in 2015, he started having contact at home. It's sort of, I guess, what they call the hitchhiker effect, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he went home and he started having contact with Aunt Terrell, and he said that his car windshield wipers would turn on, and his wife would say, "Oh, they're here," and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Well, this
And
event in
he'd never had a
2020.
sighting, just to cut you off for a second, and he'd never had a sighting before that. When he went in, and he wasn't even supposed to be in the Zender. Do you remember? Because he was just a translator for Paula. He wasn't supposed to be in there. So there was actually eight people in the Zendra, and there was only supposed to be seven. And I remember talking to him when he came out, and this was where he said, "I can't believe it. There's actually extraterrestrials. I can't believe it." And then I said to him, like everybody else saw a hologram. And I said to him, I said, "So you saw the hologram?" And he said, "What do you mean a hologram?" I said, "Well, everybody else said it was a hologram." It wasn't a hologram. He said it was close enough. I could see the lines in his face. It was not a hologram. and
Yeah, and it was interesting with him because when he saw Aunt Terrell in 2015, they did say that Aunt Terrell, as opposed to the 2014 event,
yeah,
in 2015, that did seem to be almost in a holographic projection. But when he saw him, he said he had a medallion on his chest, and in the medallion was a triangle,
wow,
and that he was very magnetically pulled when he looked at the triangle. He felt a huge magnetic pull.
wow. I didn't know that part about the triangle.
Yeah, and I think it's in the interview that we that
You
you did
translated
with
for me?
him. Yeah. So anyway, it's very interesting because this 2020 event was put together by him and two women. Um and they had gone to Sedona, Arizona, and they had received, not only did they experience a paranormal torrential rain over them, just the group that was there. This torrential rain came out of nowhere and just drenched them all, right? And they were completely as if they'd been like in a mini flood, right? So they get back to town and people are looking at them like, where did you guys come from? Like what happened? And I remember Heidi Caballero saying something about how they had received specific messages about things that were coming. And I think it had to do with COVID. And anyway, I had no idea about this event until Jan Yonder contacted me and said, Kat, there's this event happening on Mount Shasta. I don't know Spanish, and I want to know if you'll go with me. And it was not on a weekend. It was in the middle of the week. It was like I want to say it was like August 19th. And anyway, I was like, yeah, sure. I'll totally go with you. And it was very nonchalant, very very sudden. It was a very sudden thing. And so we kind of had this itinerary that had been provided to us, and it was very odd, really, because we ended up it was not on the itinerary. We ended up and Jan and I had a hard time sometimes finding the locations. We just were having a kind of circular kind of experience when we were there. But lo and behold, we end up at McLeod Falls, and which was not on the itinerary that we had. And so there we are at McLeod Falls. And I got this feeling, this overwhelming feeling that I was supposed to tell these two women and a group of people about the portal at McLeod Falls. Like I have the chills right now just thinking about it. And so I was like, so I grabbed, I think it was Maria Elena, or maybe it was Heidi, or maybe it was both of them. I don't remember. And I said, look, I don't know if you're aware that there's a dimensional portal here at McLeod Falls. And I kind of have this feeling that I'm supposed to take you there. If you have an interest in it, I can tell you where it is. And they kind of meditated about it, and they said, yeah, I think you're right. I think we're supposed to go there.
Is this the doorway?
This is the doorway where
The doorway,
you
okay.
had been. You had
Yeah,
been
I've
there.
yeah.
And and initially it was John Vivanco, the remote viewer. He's absolutely incredible, who had gone to the doorway and done a video about it on his website. And when I told Enrique Villanueva, when Enrique Villanueva saw me post John Vivanco's video on my Facebook, he contacted me and he said, Kat, you've posted a video on this doorway at McLeod. Well, actually, Enrique didn't know it was at McLeod Falls at that moment. He just had seen John Vivanco's video. And he said, it's kind of strange because I've been dreaming in dreams about a doorway. And he said, and Enrique says to me, I'm pretty sure that doorway is located at McLeod Falls. And I'm like, this is crazy, because Vivanco ended up saying the doorways was at McLeod Falls, right? So anyway, so we're there that weekend, or not the weekend, but at the gathering with I think it was like August 19th, with the folks that had come to that event. So me and Jan and the group of people, including Gerardo, go to that location. And it just so happens Gerardo earlier in the day had taken a selfie along the same path, very close to where the doorway was. And I kind of want him to talk about that, about how crazy that was, that he had taken a selfie without us even knowing that we would be going there. So the two ladies leading the event said, and this is another link to what Enrique Villanueva had said at some point earlier, like maybe in 2018. Not only was there a crop circle depicting a door, but Enrique Villanueva had done this depiction of the Vitruvian Man. And it's kind of crazy because the two ladies, when we got to the doorway, they said there are beings guarding on the other side. They're on the other side of this door, and they're showing us how we're supposed to, the stance we're supposed to make when we, connect with the doorway. And it was the Vitruvian Man. Oh my God. It was like, you put your you put your legs apart, just like the Vitruvian Man, and then you put your forehead to the door. So aside of this, Heidi Caballero was doing like a drumming type of thing on the ground next to the doorway. She said, I'm gonna be doing this drumming. Like, she had an instrument, and she started like drumming outside of the door. And I also want to mention that there was a guy walking his husky along that path. And when the husky saw Heidi Caballero, the husky stops dead. Just, the guy's walking with the dog, and the dog just stops dead, sits down in front of her, and looks up at her like if he'd just seen God or something. I mean, the husky was like, was looking above her head. The husky was, and it was sort of like, I don't want to say it was like whimpering, but it kind of was making like this unusual sound. And the husky's dad is like, come on, like, what are you doing? And she was sort of like caught off guard. And I'm telling you, it was like high strangeness. And so Gerardo was the first one to go to the doorway. Just, and there had to have been 45 people, 40 people, and he was the first one to go. And so this is what I remember. He went up to the doorway, and he did the Vitruvian man, puts his head to the doorway, and luckily there were people in close proximity, because he ended up, I'm trying to remember how long he was there. Maybe it seemed like maybe 3 or 4 minutes, maybe less, but he ended up just fainting backward, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't expect that was going to happen, right? I mean, he is passed out, just, and of course I'm thinking, oh my God, maybe the energy was too much, maybe this is, maybe, maybe this is too intense, I'm like, oh my God. And me and Jan, I felt like we were supposed to be witnesses to all of this. I felt like we were there in a witness capacity, is the feeling that I had. And so we're just looking on, and I'm sure he was as surprised as I was. And so Gerardo falls backward, and they catch him. I mean, he was just out, right? And then I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, is he okay? Like, what do we do? And then he took a gasp of air, and it was like really intense. It was like, like and I was like, oh my God, and then I remember he just woke up and started bawling. Like the emotion was just so strong. And then, they helped him up, and then he kind of composed himself, and one by one, the 40 people um went to the doorway. And I remember there was this little girl who was like maybe 7 or 8 years old. Same thing, just went, spent time there, and bawled her eyes out, just bawled her eyes out. And then later on, when we were in the parking lot after the event, I remember Gerardo came up to me, and he said, I want to tell you about my experience. Would you be okay with that? And I said, yeah, I totally would. I would really appreciate it if I'm really humbled by the fact that you would want to share with me what happened. And and I remember he told me that he had felt himself surrounded by these 6 beings wearing white robes, and that they had said to him, you surface dwellers use the love word very lightly. You think you know what it means, and you throw it around, and you're like, love, love, love. Oh, love you, love this, love that. But you really do not understand the connection between all living things, how everything is connected from the microcosm to the macrocosm, or whatever, reversed or whatever. But that everything, every life form is connected. And they said the time is short for you people to understand the connectedness between everything that lives. And I don't know, maybe something about that a time was soon coming when we would feel the connection, we ourselves would feel the connection. And this is interesting, because when Ricardo Gonzalez was went to Altai, he had a communication with the beings that are over there, that are inside the earth also. And they told Ricardo that a shift was coming. They said the ground underneath your feet will move, which I think is earth crust displacement. And they said, and you will cease to see yourselves as visited. because you yourselves will be connected. And so you will no longer see yourselves as separate and being visited. You will be plugged in yourselves. And so I feel like what the beings told Gerardo and what the beings told Ricardo, I feel like we're coming upon that time. And the message seemed to be that the time is short. The time is very short for us to start changing or trying to change the way we see things. And what I think happened, I can't say, but and Gerardo will tell us, but that when you feel that sense of connection on that level, when you're not used to feeling that sense of connection, it's very shocking. It's got to be very shocking. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
I don't.
let's bring in Gerardo now and get him to explain his experience. But let me ask you just to set the pace, because a lot of people may not be familiar with all this. The beings that we're dealing with in 2020 aren't the same beings as 2014. So we're dealing this time with Adama, right? And the primary one was Antarel. And the other question I have for you is the doorway, which actually, when you see it, it actually is a doorway in the side of this mountain. It's the most bizarre looking thing. And you say a portal. So is it to this inside the mountain to Telos, this city that's supposed to be under the mountain? Is that tied into this?
I'm thinking that, and I'll let Gerardo talk about his experiences, but yes, from what I have read, the beings that are inside the mountain, and they're friends, by the way, the people inside the mountain are friends with Antarel and those folks. And I'll tell you, when Desta came to Mount Shasta with me in 2015, Ricardo said that Ivica and Antarel had said, we are going to be working with our friends inside the mountain to dictate the divine names, your higher name, the divine names, into you will hear it in your left ear. And you told me, I said, I don't know why I heard it in my left ear. And you said to me later, I think it's because they were targeting the right brain,
Yeah.
which is the creative brain, right? So there we are in this, we made this circle, and sure enough, oh, and the other thing was, I think it was Ivica. It was Ivica or Antarel. I'd have to look back, but they said, you may not believe this, but we are now talking to you from our base in the Huascaran. We're talking to you from the base. So imagine that they are at the base in the Huascaran in Peru, but they said, working with our friends inside the mountain, we will dictate your names to you. It was nuts, right? I mean, you talk about how the distance doesn't matter when you have those connections or higher technology. So yes, I think they're all fifth dimension. And from what I read, when they first got to inside that mountain after Atlantis had the cataclysm, they were fourth dimension. This is what I read, that they were fourth dimension. They had catapulted from third dimension to fourth dimension. But once they got there, there were other beings that were already there that helped them to catapult to the fifth dimension. So I think we're looking in the near future to make that change, and it has to do with the shifting of the earth, because that's what happened to Atlantis and Lemuria. Is there was a shifting of the earth's crust,
Yeah.
and whether it's due to volcanic activity or in the oceans or whatever, but the crust shifts and then things get moved around. And so I think what's going to happen is that we're looking at a future event where this will happen once again, and we who are in third dimension will go through the same change that they went through, and then they're going to advance to the next level. So everybody, it's like everybody advances
Yeah.
to the next.
Were you there when Enrique, when the mountain lit up with the Telos, all the lights of Telos were there? Were you there
No,
that?
I was not there that year.
Okay,
No,
no, that was
no.
unfortunately, he didn't get the couple of photographs till the very end of it as the sun was coming up. But there is the idea that Telos, and some people say the Lemurians had come to Mount Shasta And so this is part of the story that people got to realize is this is this holy mountain where people believe they have this lost city of Telos, which is underneath the mountain. And this all ties into this doorway and the portal. And it's a very, very complex story. And it goes over many, many years. As you said, it started back with this architect from Los Angeles who had never had a UFO sighting. Then he gets dragged in with the hitchhiker effect and he's told what to do. And he doesn't even appear at this 2020 event. He's part of setting it up, and then he doesn't appear at the event. And I think it happened during COVID. I think Adama said if there was 111 people that he would appear, and we can get into that later. But he does appear, and there wasn't that many people there. I think there's only 40 or something like that, 40 people there. But people have to see this background of these beings and the number of cases where these zendras, or what are called in English portals, are opened up by various people like Enrique and Ricardo and Sixto Paz, and a number of people have opened these zendras on the mountain at the 4,000-foot level, which they call the sand flats. So bring in Gerardo now, and let's see what he recalls. And I think this is the first time he had been to the event and had sightings. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was in the mountain one time before this event, but I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
I don't feel anything. I was like, and I hear people like saying, "Oh, I saw a lot of lights in the forest." But for me, nothing. So I was like, maybe this is not for me. So the event with Marilena and Heidi came. So I decided to go. And everyone went to the river where the cascades. And I was in the car because I had to finish some kind of activity. And when I finished, I start walking. I never been in there before. Okay. And I start walking, following my instincts. And some point, I get to the door. And I was like, And then I hear a voice in my brain, like saying, like a telepathic way, telling me, take a picture so everyone can believe you. So I take a selfie and I continue walking. And then I get a call, I make a call asking for the people, where are you guys? I haven't seen you. And they said, oh, it's the opposite way. So I walk. And the interesting part of this is when I walk from the other side, far away, it took me less than 5 minutes, less than 4 minutes to be on the bottom of the cascades. And people they were like, oh, it didn't take you longer. You came very fast. And I was like, I was walking, watching the nature, and suddenly here I am. And then we were having activities, and then everyone was saying, oh, somebody's going to take us to the portal, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay. I was open. And when everyone was in the line to enter through the portal, I hear a time the voice telling me, okay, so there is a reason that you was first. You need to be the first person to be inside. And then I said, that was one of the reasons that I was the first one. And yeah, so they put me in southern way to two legs open, the arms touching the frame of the door, and the forehead on the door. And suddenly it was like a vacuum, like taking me inside. Mm-hmm. And I see myself in a dark room, and suddenly I saw some beings. They were coming towards me and make a circle. Everyone was talking in a language that I didn't understand in that moment. And then, like a vacuum again, they put me outside. And I fell. Somebody was catching me. And in that moment, I don't have any reaction. And when I wake up with the breath that Kate said, I was shaking. All my body was shaking, like no control. And one of my friends get closer to me and she said that I wasn't breathing, no breathing. And it was like a reborn somehow. That's why I get like a very strong breath. And I was shaking. And then they decide to, okay, Gerardo was the first one. Let's put him at the end of the line so he can be recovering. At that time, we have another people, I guess, from Canada. It was a medium. And she get closer to me and she said, you know why are you shaking? I said, no, I don't understand why I'm shaking. And she said, because the vibration of them is here. So in order for you to be in there, you had to vibrate at the same level as them. That's why you have the remaining vibration. Because we are on the third dimension, we don't gonna be like strong enough, but that's why we need their help to be in contact with them. So after I recover, I see people coming, having their own experiences, and without saying any word, the medium and myself were getting closer to the people that they were coming. So without touching the people, so she get and tried to put their post their hands and the people's feet, and I was posting the hand and the people's head without touching. Like no communication between me and the medium. We just react like that in that moment. And trying to ground the people that they were coming from their own experiences. Yeah, so we were helping in that way. After that, I had that, like, because I was inside and the transition, and the time that I was in the transition to in to out, I have a lot of visions in my brain, like in a second, like a lot of visions. And
Can I ask a question? Because I've studied this before. So you get like images are coming one at a time, like very, very fast. Like how many would you say a second images?
oh, like a lot,
Yeah.
a lot.
And do you know what the images were? The ecological images, spiritual images? Do you?
It was like spiritual. It was like something that is coming. Something like I had to communicate with some specific people. Something like giving a message to some specific people, and everything at once. Like you don't. This is something like hard to believe, but I received like the bunch of information that later, when we were in the parking lot and I saw Katarina, because I didn't know her, and she was a witness by the entrance and the portal, and I came closer to her and I said, you know what? I saw this, and this is a message that you need to know, and your friend need to know.
Wow.
So
the reason I bring this up, just to stop your story for a second, I want to hear what the message was and as much as you can remember about the images, but there are a number of cases. One is, if you remember the Ariel Schools story of the 62 kids in the schoolyard, there's two of them. One was from Canada, and they described the same thing. When the being was in front of her, she said the being was there, and then suddenly all these images started going in her head, and hers were technological images. And the girl that was right beside her was getting the images as well, and they were ecological images. And then if you listen to a researcher by the name of Susie Hansen from New Zealand, she talks about the beings take them to a place below the ground to like a big auditorium, and she says they put an image on the screen, and then an
Mm.
image, and then an
Mhm.
image, and then an image. And she said they were going like 100 a second. And they had taught us how to do it. And she said there was people crying and all emotional. And the being just put his hand like this, like that, and everybody stopped crying. But the image of the message got in there. So this is this. I'm so interested in this. We call it rapid image cycling. In fact, there's a guy who just died. Um, uh, Bill Bankston has just died. He had a healing method where I actually was trained on this in Chicago, where they would teach you to put these images in your head, left brain images of things that you want and stuff like that to shut down the left brain. And they would put these images where they teach you to do 1,000 a second, these images flipping in your head. They would teach you to do that, and they could put your hands. And they claimed they could do cancer and anything. Is the more aggressive they could do just by sort of doing this thing with what's called rapid image cycling. And the interesting part of it was that at the end, when I was trying to find out, I said, I know what he's doing. They're shutting down the left brain. That's what they're doing with these rapid images. They're trying to get the part of the brain that's the ego to go and go for coffee. We're busy here. We want to do something here. And then what happened was I talked to the trainer in Chicago, and at the end of his book, he was taught how to do this by a psychic. And the psychic said, Bankston said at the very end of his life, he was having a hard time. He actually thought he was an alien. And he was going crazy. He thought he was an alien. And he said that I was an alien as well, and that we had come to Earth to teach people how to do this healing technique. So when you mentioned the fact that it's rapid image cycling, it's the same thing. It validates the fact that the aliens do this, that they put this image at very high, and it sort of blocks your mind where you have to stop, and they put it in there, and they can move it very, very fast. It's almost like an instantaneous download. So thank you for elaborating that, because it backs up a lot of similar stories of various UFO encounters where this kind of thing does happen.
Thank you. And yeah, so in one of the messages that I provide is to Catherine Cat is that love, how important is love, and the connection that we had, and even though with a rock, even though with a little ant, the trees, and then they showed me. And that time, I think there is nothing regarding the communication between the trees, and they showed me how they communicate, how we are part of that communication. And yeah, it was so like very touching for me that I was crying all the time, emotional, and the way that I was crying and the way that I was feeling, I was involved in love. That was the reason, one of the reasons. Yeah. So
Can
after
I ask
that,
about the beings? Can you describe the beings? Could you see their faces, or they had hooded, I think, right?
yeah, they were wearing a robe, and I don't see nothing else. I don't see the details
Yeah.
because everything was like super fast. For me, inside of the portal was like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, because I hear them all over talking. Like Kat said, I was there in real time, like 3 minutes, so probably less.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the time is something that is completely different.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So after that situation, we went to the cabin that we rent, and yeah, so everyone was talking, and then we have a activity, and one of the activities was like be in like in a fire pit. And at the time that I had to take care of the fire pit. It was for, I think, for 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. So I had to wake up, go over there to check the fire. So it was myself and somebody else. Okay, just two people, and we were there walking around the fire, meditating. Suddenly, I saw from the fire, it was like a column of full of smoke coming out from the fire. And I was like, but the fire looks very alive. So where the smoke is coming. So with my eye, I start following the smoke, and it was going everything. Like the column was directly to one part of the one tree. And I checked the tree and I saw a beam. I saw a beam like super tall, like 6 feet tall, long white hair, like a rope, white rope, and blue, like a blue skirt under. And it was somebody like super fine, long, pale skin. It was something like and I was like wait a minute. And then I said to the person that was next to me, Leticia, do you see the tree that is right there where the smoke is coming, going to? And she said, yeah. So what's going on? Do you see the beam that is standing there staring to us? And she was like, no, I don't see anything. And then I was like, okay. And then I hear the name that he gave me. Um, sorry, I forgot the name right now. He told me that his name was.
Kat, do you remember? You're pretty good memory.
You know what? I didn't remember this part.
No, because you wasn't with our group.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
this is all like amazing to me.
So he told me that his name was. He is one of the leaders. I forgot the name.
Not Adama, right?
Adama.
Oh,
What was
Adama.
Adama?
Thank
Okay.
you. That was Adama. He told me Adama is my name, and I hear it here in my brain, and I said, "Wow, it's the same voice that I hear when I was by the river the first time when I was in front of the door taking the selfie, and I was like, wow." And then I start walking around the fire pit, and then I turn, and he vanished. Somebody took me a picture when I was walking around the pit, and it looks like somebody tall, like an energy, is touching one of my shoulder.
Shoulder. Mhm.
Mm-hmm. And when we saw the picture of what we were like, wow, that's super intense. Um, and then when we turned off the smoke, the fire, and we went inside the cabin because it was already the sun was already out, and so everyone was getting ready. Now they said, okay, so we had to go to the top of the mountain. Oh, before that, somebody was saying, okay, so we have a visit right now. I don't know, I don't remember. It was Maria Elena. And I said, I feel the energy again, the same energy, and my body started reacting. And I said, yes, they are here. And they said, okay, now we have to go straight to Flat Bunny, and let's do it. So everyone went into the Flat Bunny. And I think Katarina was there. You there?
The Bunny Flats where she
Bunny
wanted to
Flat.
bury the crystal
Mm-hmm,
at
mm-hmm.
11:11 or
Yes.
something. She wanted it to be 11:11.
Mm-hmm.
Who's this?
It was when we were wrapping it up, and Maria Elena Fonseca wanted to bury a crystal at 11. She said it needed to be at 11:11.
Okay.
And I remember Gerardo was very emotional, very emotional. And I remember that, yes. And people were looking toward the mountain, and he said, "Why are you looking to the mountain? They're right here with us. They're right next to us. They're wondering why we're looking to the mountain because they're right here."
Gerardo said that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Is this the
so
same night as the event with the levitation? Is you're
yeah,
So that would have been the day following because the nine folks who camped out at Sand Flat,
for the birthday party? Yeah.
yeah, that had already happened. And here's the
Okay.
crazy thing. Okay, so Jan and I'd had this feeling that, like, oh, I said to him, we should camp out here tonight. It would be fun. We could talk, 'cause whenever he and I get together to talk, we talk like for hours. And so I was like, we should camp out here. We could talk, and it would be really pretty, and that was our plan. But then it got really pitch black. It got really dark because we were doing the DNA activation, and that's when that lady showed up in the video, right? That the lady, and I call her the lady because I get a feminine feeling from the being, but it
I do
could
too. But
could be a
hey, can you share? I didn't move I've got the photos you sent me, but they're on my cell phone. Are you able to share?
no. I
Okay.
don't. I'm on
Okay,
my
so
cell phone.
what I'll do is once we are finished, I will do a little PowerPoint presentation and I will show people the photographs that you sent because that lady you're describing is an important story because it happened. It was wasn't it the event where they were lying on the ground? Wasn't that a rose petal ceremony?
It was a DNA activation, and what Heidi told me was that when they were in Sedona, they were told that there were things coming, which was right when COVID happened. COVID had happened, and it was going to affect people's lungs, right? And so it was like, and I'm trying to remember if when we did the other interview, if she mentioned that, but it was like they were talking about four forces: fire, water, wind and
Yeah.
whatever. And also what I don't remember where I heard this or where I got it, but that they wanted to activate our DNA so that we would be able to better incorporate the 5D energies that were coming out, because 5D was about to come out, and that they wanted our bodies to be able to incorporate those energies and be
Okay.
able to whatever. So we're lying down, right? And I was lying down with Marcelina and her husband, and we she did the rose petals over us. And I'll have to ask Gerardo if he felt anything during that whatever. But so we all had our eyes closed. So I didn't see the lady in the until somebody circulated a video that they took during the ceremony. And my goodness, man, the
Yeah.
lady is there. And then
And well, let
when
me stop because just to tie it into Gerardo's, he talked about the beings were in white. Um, is that correct? White hooded beings, and that's what that being is on the edge of the forest. And there's actually two. I think the film is. I think on the interview we did with three of the nine people, they stated that they'd asked permission. Can we film? And they said yes. And that's why the camera pans and it goes, and that woman is picked up standing by the tree. And I'll do this in the PowerPoint presentation. I'll show this 1 minute and 20-second video where the being is there and then it pans and then the camera comes back and then this being, it looks like a woman, has moved to this other tree and you can see a huge shadow behind her, which is like 3 times the size of the being, which indicates the light is coming from below. It's not coming from the sun up above, it's coming from below, and you can see this huge shadow behind. So it's kind of interesting
and and,
where,
and when I was re-looking at the video today, she's standing in between those same trees, but in the first capture, she's facing sideways.
yeah,
But in the second capture, she's facing toward that shadow that's opened, as
yeah,
if she's getting ready to maybe go back down to where she came from.
yeah,
And you had caught the tesseract by the tree.
yeah,
That if you weren't looking for it, you wouldn't know that was there. But I know they work with those cubes. They work with the cubes
yeah.
because
That was
Yeah.
an interesting photo because the more you blew it up, the more weird things appeared on the film. And it was almost like it wasn't enough to like convincing proof that this is actually what it was, but it was like creating awe and curiosity. It was just so weird. I think you guys were looking like I think Jan May was the one that picked it up, that you guys had seen this sort of a lens flare when it went to the right, and there was this lens flare came through the trees from the sun, and everybody thought that was the UFO. And then Jan said, "No, no, what's this thing standing by the forest here?" And then everyone, went, "Oh, I didn't nobody even noticed it." And if it hadn't been for Jan, nobody would have picked up the fact that this woman was standing, and this is in the middle of nowhere, and during the middle of the week, and on the edge of a forest, up on 4,000 feet up on a mountain, and it's like, it's just very bizarre. And when Gerardo's talking about the white hooded beings, this is the same thing, the same as the tie-in that he said that he was given the name Adama, and the 9 people that were levitated, they stated it was Adama that came.
Mhm. Yeah. So I wasn't with Katarina when I don't even remember. See if I was in the moment with the rose petals, uh, uh, because in some points I've got my mind lost,
Yeah.
and I don't remember. But what I remember that when we went to Bonnie Flat, and there is a part of the uh, highway. Uh, I don't know if that's the correct way to say it, of the street. And then the car going to the no, well, how you call it? Ground,
Okay.
like a ground.
Yeah.
So since the car leave the highway and touch the ground,
Yeah.
and even ground, I start having a lot of images in my mind. I was start crying again,
Wow.
super emotional. Luckily, I wasn't the one person that was driving, and I was sitting in the back seat. And I see the Vince with the arms like this, bowing
Wow.
and telling me, "Welcome, brother. We're happy to see you again." And then I have another images coming to my mind, like 100, more than 100, and super catastrophic, telling me the time is getting close. We had to work in the love of people, helping them to open the third eye, changing the DNA, doing the work that you're supposed to do. And so when we get in the Bonnie Flat, everyone was gathering in two different places. For one group was far away, making a circle. The other group was doing something, and the other part, when I get, everyone was running out of the car. And in that time, it was hard for me to walk. So I tried to, and I was so confused. I didn't know what to do. And I said, where I go, where I go? Because I saw the two groups. And somebody or someone or the voice in my brain told me, go to the circle. So I was walking like very bad. And um, very hardly I got into the group with the circle. So we grab our hands, and another images came into my brain. I start crying again, and then they suddenly break the circle, and I was trying to yell like, help me to move, help me to walk. And I see people passing by and nobody can hear me. And I was like, help me to walk. And it was a family that was coming from Mexico with Haiti group. So the mother held me in one arm and the daughter was holding me the other arm. So they were helping me to walk. And into the circle with where we're gonna put the crystal. And I start giving them a message. And the way that without the messages come without thinking. It's like I'm not the one speaking, like as some kind of energy or somebody is like making me to do this, speak like that for them. So I give instructions to them. I went to the circle. It was a line. Maria Elena was the first person to go into the circle. To I don't know what she was doing, and then some people was telling me, "You're gonna be I'm gonna be the last. You're gonna be the third or fourth before the line ends." And I was like, "No, no, no, no. There is a reason that I had to be in the end." So Maria Elena, and I went to Maria Elena and I said, "Maria Elena, you go first." I moved Leticia and I said, "Leticia, you had to be in the middle and I will be the one at the end of the line." I don't know what they were doing because I think they made 3 holes. I think they put 3 crystal, 1 crystal. I don't have any idea. And at the time that it was my turn in go inside the circle. So when I was going inside, everyone was gathering around, making a circle outside a lane. So I was like covering the holes with the little dirt. Thank you. That they were having us inside, aside, and I was crying. I didn't stop to cry, and when I finished, before I was finished I start seeing the beings around us. Some of them were flying above the trees, like in a scooter, like standing on the scooter, flying very high and different. And I see males, females, kids, a bunch of people, a gathering.
Were they wearing the robes?
Pardon?
Were they wearing the robes?
Yeah,
Okay.
there were all of them there.
And how many do you think there would have been if you were to count them up?
Oh my gosh, I will say like more than 100.
Wow.
It was a gathering.
That's very similar to the levitated people. When we asked them, he said there was as many beings as there was trees in the forest.
Yeah. So when I finished to cover the holes, Marilena came to me and she was crying too, and she helped me to standing. And I said, "Do you see what I see? Do you see what is around?" And she was crying too, and she said, "Yes, I see it." And then she said, "Look to the mountain. Thanks to the beings that they live over there in Telos." And then I hear the voice again, and started like laughing. He started like he was having like a good humor, enjoying the situation with us. And he said, "Okay, everyone is saying thanks to the beings that they live in the mountain when the house is empty. Everyone is here. Instead of beings looking around, you're suing the house that is empty." Uh-huh. And I said, "Okay, they're here. We don't have to watch the mountain. We don't have to see the mountain. They're here." And yeah, and then they break the circle. Everyone was running back to the cars. I had lost some part of my memory in some points of that process. I think I saw Kat again, and I started speaking with her about the fire, about how I see the catastrophe that I see, and then I turn around, and when I turn around, nobody was there.
Oh,
Everyone was already gone
wow.
except the car where I was with my friends, and they were already inside. And they said, "Okay, we went waiting for you. It
Wow.
took you like a lot to come over." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And yeah, because again, it was hard for me to walk. But like I said, everyone disappeared. Everyone, I don't know, that's part of my brain that is kind of disconnected, or I forgot that part, the memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, after that, I jumped into the car. My friend started driving. And some point of the mountain, she said, "Okay, let's stop here and have a little break and try to connect with the energy, and thanks to the energy and the beings that we have today." So yeah, so um, when we were thinking, somebody was taking pictures, and when they took a picture of me, there is like a big halo and around my at the top of my head. It's something like, what is that? Yeah. And then after that, we were coming. I was, in the way back, I was like a catatonic.
Mhm.
I was
Yeah.
like disconnected.
Yeah.
And my friend Leticia said, "Okay, it looked like we had somebody above us. I feel the energy that we have like a spaceship around above us." And I said, in that moment, I said, "There is no one, there are two spaceships. They are like our guardians, that everything's gonna be fine." Yeah, so there is a moment where the freeway divide and towards to where I was living, and they already left. So I was in my house with my friends. They spent the night there because they live in Los Angeles. It was a long driving for them,
Yeah.
so they spent the night there with me. And when I turned off the light, my friend Leticia said, "Gerardo, this is so crazy. This is so unbelievable. There is a huge portal in your place, in your house, and I hear the sound, and I see like a angels moving around." And I was like, "Really?" I didn't believe it, but at then I was like, "Okay, since that happened to me over the mountain, so everything can be real." Yeah. So the next day, they went back to LA, and my friend made me a video call. Sorry. And when um when she saw me, no, before, yeah, I think, yeah, she saw me and she said, "Gerardo, remove the filter that you have." And I was like, "I don't have any filter." And she was like, "Yes, you have a filter." And I was like, "Take a picture." And she took the picture, sent it to me. And because she said that I was kind of green, purple color, and some signs like a gold signs or pure purple signs all over me, like moving.
Wow.
And she sent me the picture, and I looked like green, purple.
And the green and purple, I have to interject and say that when we were up at Mount Shasta with Enrique Villanueva, and the Archangel Michael came to impart the crystal, when he walked around and incorporated it into our foreheads, the two colors I saw were a mint green with purple. And so when I saw your photo, I was like, "Oh my God, it's the same two colors that I saw." It was crazy.
Yeah. And in that picture, I have a some kind of like a drawing in here in my forehead.
Wow.
Right, cat? That I have something here in my forehead. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And since then, I had Master Adama and other beings be in contact with me. I do like healing with my hands. They come to they're next to me. I make like some kind of healing music. And when I was doing the healing music, like a like a sound bath with some binaural sound.
Oh,
Uh,
binaural beats or something.
Master Adama said, like I said, he has a kind of humor, very interesting. He said, "Look at you. This is the way that we heal in Telos." Mm-hmm. Good. And after that, before that, I have a dream that I was in like in a stadium full of people, and I was with my friend Marta, and we were like, at what time this is gonna start? I don't know why we're here, but at what time this is gonna start? And she said, I don't know. You tell me. You are the one telling me to come. And I was like, okay, let's go to the store because I need some snacks. So, we stand up from our seats. We walk out of where we were meeting, and we were in the store. I started grabbing chips and soda and a bunch of stuff. I was with my hands like this, and suddenly in the street, I saw a a big people, like a large community people come walking, and then I hear Master Adama telling me, you're here. I was waiting for you. I was looking for you. Then you're here eating the chips. And he said, come on, enjoy the group. And I was like, okay. So I give my stuff to my friend. And I also gave her my key, from my house key. And I told her, can you please keep an eye on my dogs? And she was like, yeah, sure. So, but how long is going to take you to come back? And my friend Leticia was part of the group. She said, we don't know when we're going to come back, if we're going to come back. So I was part of the group, and we were walking, and suddenly we were in the forest. I see like a big stones floating, moving, like making a way for us to go through, like moving around. And suddenly I saw like a cave, and everyone was walking inside the cave. And then like a spaceship, humongous spaceship. We went inside. We flew out of the earth, and I wake up. Uh-huh. So that's one of my dreams. And coming back to my activities, since then, I've been gathering people because sometimes they are telling me to take people to Mount Shasta to have their own experience, like, oh, come to the portal, help them to find themselves. What is the reason for them to find themselves? Because that's the main question that we only was born, grow, reproduce, and die. Or there is more for us. And some people was telling me, okay, there is nothing in the portal. The portal was closed. The portal is nobody is there. And I said, no, I have another information saying that no, the portal is still open, but not for everyone. So I get a big group from people from Mexico and different parts of America. So we went, and I was since before I was in the portal, I see again the beings coming to me, smiling, and with the hands like this, bowing, and I had to touch the rocks. And one of the person that was said in the group was telling me, "Oh, it's every time that you was touching the rocks, is like you was like a like a like a like a like a caja fuerte. ¿Cómo se dice caja fuerte, Chris? Kate?
¿Caja fuerte?
Ajá.
¿Que se sentía como una caja fuerte?
That I had to put the codes and the rocks like a safe, like a safe. You know, then the safe you had to put the numbers.
Okay.
So he saw it every time that I was touching the rock before we gathered in the main door. I was like putting the numbers, the codes.
Oh, I see.
To open the door for them. Yeah. And another thing that I will say is that whatever the person is seeing, that the person that is in the main door and the portal, I see it.
Mhm.
Whatever they're seeing, you see it too?
Yeah, I see it too.
Wow.
And I see if the person really go into the inside the mountain, or they're not like welcome, or this is not your time to go inside. Yeah. So, and one time that I've been there, they took me already to Telos. Not just in the first next to the door. They took me inside Telos.
Later, you're saying?
Pardon? Sorry?
Later, they took you, what did it be a year later, 2 years later?
Yeah, they took me when the time was passing by, because I tried to take people over there every year.
Okay.
Once or twice a year. And one of the experiences was like, I was like knowing the hole. I was inside the Telos.
Okay.
And I see the houses, people flying over, super bright. It's like a crystal city.
Crystal City. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
they have their own plans. And
Is it true? Like, do you know, or have you had any intuition or experience that there's a level for the animals? Because I've heard that they have that level 5 is for the animals, but I've never known if that was true. But just wondering if because that's the level I want to go to.
The cat
okay.
level you want to go to, right?
I become vegan since I started having my contact with them. I become vegan. I don't need any animal products.
Yeah, I have to say, when I saw your profile, I want to say it was months later after the initial experience, I just was like, this cannot be the same Gerardo, man. What's going on? I mean, he looks, it was like, you look like a different person. It was just like, wait, what happened? I mean, it was like a metamorphosis. It was like, it was shocking. I was just like, maybe I got the wrong, maybe this is not his profile. Because your whole affect, countenance, whatever you want to call it, it was like it was like the real you or another you came out, and the other Gerardo was like, I don't know where you went.
Yeah, you're not the only one saying that. I have different friends that they say the same.
Wow.
Mhm.
Well, how has your life changed? Can you define what has changed in terms of, like you say, you don't eat meat, and what other things have changed in your life since this event?
Okay, since this event, I become vegan. One of the major changes in my life. The second was like I become more spiritual. Like no one specific like kind of church. I got like a universal belief. And I now I said the universe, father, mother, energy. Mhm. When somebody's eating, I said thank you for the animal that is giving this for the purpose to feed you, to give you what you need. Before I wasn't doing that. I see the people was eating and that's it. But now when I see that the person is eating animal products, I'm like, we had to thank the animal, we had to thank the people that they cook, we had to thank to the universe that we here in this moment at this time. Yeah, and I become more like, I will say this, but trying to be more humble, like more grounded, and I become more like um how I said, I become like a full uh like a spectator.
Oh, like like a spectator
Like
watching.
that their surroundings, watching everyone,
Yeah.
watching everything, and because everything has a purpose in life, everyone has a purpose, even though they know they don't want to make the changes. That's the purpose for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I become more patient. I become more like I said to the people that I know, uh, thank you and I love you and that kind of things.
More tolerant, right? More tolerant. You
More
become more
tolerance.
tolerant. Yeah, you realize everybody's on their path and it's okay. It's okay. Everybody,
Yeah.
you have that respect for people that like everybody's on their path, and if they want to take the road with they get knocked up their head or whatever,
Yeah.
maybe they want to do that for learning, right?
Yeah.
Everybody learns in their own way.
And the
Yeah, and the
healing,
other thing,
what about the healing?
and the other thing is that I don't become judgmental. Because even though people that they are like master whatever or healers, they become judgmental. But for me, I said, like you said, Kat, everyone has their own path and everyone's going their own speed. And like Grant said, and part of the healing, I become more like I try to make groups, even though here in my apartment, I go wherever they ask me to go to have like sound healing activities. I have different healings activities, not just the sound therapy. I have like a I forgot the sorry, my mind sometimes is not well at all. Um, it's like a toroidal
Oh, toroidal, huh?
and I try to teach the people about what is the toroidal.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the main reasons that I am here is that I had to teach people, I had to make them understand that it's not just healing with energy, and there is a lot of energy around the toroidal, the magnets, the grounding, and everything is like connection at the end of the story. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I've actually can share screen now. I've got some of the photos we can go through. Kat, what's the status on these other people that said they were going to do a book? Because this is even more amazing a story than what I thought it was. This is a story that almost has to be told. You should write up a book and tell the story because there's just so many aspects of the story, and it's sort of complex to try to get it all in 1 hour or 2 hours. It's just like this is happening, that's happening. So let's go through the photos now, and you can sort of try to between the two of you, you can sort of take us through. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are some of the photos I've got from the 2020 Shasta thing. So let's go through a little bit about this. This is the water the
Yeah, that was
waterfalls
at
that you're talking about.
the lower falls, and that's what Gerardo says that he was maybe up at upper falls, middle falls, and then he called and said, "Where are you guys?" And they said, "Oh, we're down here by the river," and that's because at the lower falls the message was that they wanted everyone to go through this water cleansing prior to going to just go through this cleansing, and so. Um, and I don't remember if by then I had told him there was a doorway or if I told him later, but uh after this, but it was kind of so everybody did this and the water was very cold, and there was a lady who slipped and fell backward and hit her head pretty hard there at the lower falls. So it's very slippery in there, just letting you know
Yeah,
in
yeah.
case you want to in case you want to go
Yeah,
do
it is
it.
mountain water. And these are some of the people that were involved in the levitation. You want to quickly tell the story of the levitation? Because
Yeah,
these are some of the people that were involved in the levitation. You
sorry,
especially had
Grant.
your eye on the guy that with no shirt, I think.
Yeah, sorry, Grant. Before she's saying about that
Yeah,
specific part, I'm gonna share that when the lady fell into the ground, she hit the rock.
yeah.
The cell phone was she lost the cell phone because it wasn't inside the river, and the cell phone by itself it started taking pictures, different pictures, and the color that it came and the picture was purple.
I didn't know that.
Did they
Mm-hmm.
recover the phone? Yeah.
Uh-huh. We recovered the phone, and that's why we saw it later. That different, every picture that the cell phone took was purple in
Wow,
different.
so maybe that happened all like not by accident.
Yeah, I don't know why or how, but that's what they happened.
Wow.
The story gets weirder and weirder all the time.
Yeah, that's something I had not heard of. Oh wow.
Wow, fascinating. Okay, let's see what we've got here. No, that's not one. This is the sand flat area. This is where you were having the event, right?
That's where I think we had the DNA. That may
Active.
have been where we had the DNA activation, but may have been higher up. I really.
Because it's the same place. It's the like this is the on the bottom of this is where there's no trees. It's just that sand
Yeah,
and the road coming in. Just to give people an
Yeah,
idea
yeah.
that are
yeah,
watching what
Yeah,
we're
and
talking
that would
about here.
make sense because I remember being there and her saying we're gonna go up and to the left. So that actually makes sense. And the lady that appeared, the lady in the white robe, she appeared between two trees. So it was.
Yeah, I've got the photo of that coming out. You can
Mm-hmm.
actually see on this photograph the circle of people in sort of the middle left side there. You can see the circle of people. And that's what would happen with these Mission Rama events where people gather in these groups. They do meditation, oming, and what you're trying to do is raise the vibration, and the beings lower their vibration, and you meet in between, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So let's see what other photos we got here. That's the people that were on the call. Hang on. Oh, hang on. Here's the lady. That's Adama, correct?
yes.
Adama.
Okay. That's what he looked like?
Um, for what I see, he was like the hair was completely white,
Okay.
White,
more
more
white,
platinum. Uh-huh.
more
Yeah. Almost
platinum,
like Antarell had white hair, right? Silver hair.
silver hair. Yeah.
We may have a picture of Antarell. So here's the woman. It's not very clear on this one, but this is the woman that you're talking about on the edge of the forest, where it looks like a woman in a
A white robe, yeah,
white robe.
and it almost looks like I don't want to say that there's a slight levitation, but I
Could
get a
be.
feeling that she's like floating on the
Yeah.
ground.
That could be. Yeah, I would agree with you. In fact, maybe I got a better one coming up here. Let's see.
I will add to that that when I have a healing that's my apartment, and
And
after
look what time it was. It was 3 a.m.
yeah, that was my apartment. I was washing the dishes, and suddenly I'll hear the voice like, "We're here, we're here for you."
Wow.
And
And then you took a picture?
yeah, and then I was like, wait a minute, where does that come from? What happened? And then I see it, and then I said, can you give me the permission to take a picture? And yeah, of course. That's why we're here, so you can have a proof to show. Yeah, this is the picture.
Wow.
3
So,
a.m. The magical time.
Kat, maybe to quickly tell the story of the big event that really makes this the big story, and that is the levitation in the middle of the night. They're having this birthday party at 2 o'clock in the morning, and
Yeah, so they were gathered. My understanding is they were gathered in the middle of sand flat where there's just absolutely nothing all around, right?
Right.
And they're seated. It was somebody's birthday, and they're seated there like 2 in the morning. And now, mind you, you know how cold it gets up there. I mean,
Okay.
it gets bone cold, right? So I
Yeah, I
don't care
wonder how
who's.
you survive because you have a
No,
hard
I don't
time
know.
in an
I don't know. I
office.
don't care whose birthday it was. If I can't imagine being seated out there at 2 a.m. It just because it gets so cold, right? But so my understanding is Marcelina and her husband Javier were they were the ones that were facing the trees. The other people, a lot of the people were their backs were to the trees, and so at some point Marcelina, who's very intuitive, says, I see some lights over there in the trees. And they're like, oh, it's campers. They're just taking a whiz or something like you. It's just probably campers and their
Yeah.
flashlights. And she said, no, no, I don't think so. I think that I see some weird lights over there. So at that point, they turned around and there were three lights that were initially looked like orbs. But then as they turn around to look at them, they turn into a tubular shape. And then it's like, okay, wait, what is that? And then I think it was Heidi Caballero she received a telepathic message that said, come to the trees. And they were like, we're not going over there. It's dark, it's far away. We could trip. Like, we're not going to go to the trees. Why don't all y'all come out? And, if you want to come out. And then it was like, they said the sound was like as if it was a herd of elephants running toward them, that the sound was a deafening sound, and that you could hear the branches crackling and whatever. And then they said that they kind of got nervous because the sound was deafening, and so they all stood up and held hands. The 9 people held hands, and as the three beings were advancing toward them, they were floating. And the one in the middle, who was the tallest, that would be Adama, um, when they would advance, a light would shoot up above his head, and then they would come closer, and the light would shoot up again. And the two other men were not as tall as he was. They had facial hair, like they had beards maybe. And when they reached them, um, they started to touch them in places where these people had ailments, like Marcelina's husband Javier. I think he had a problem with his knee, and they touched him in back of his knee. And and this is the interesting part, was that they have these impart crystals at these Mount Shasta situations where they'll impart crystals. But she said Adama had a crystal in his hand and put the crystal straight into her chest. And I said, dude, you got the shortcut. Because, I mean, usually it's like these, we're going to meditate, we're going to stretch out your hands, you're going to feel something in your hands. No, this lady got the full on crystal, just was right into her chest. And then, oh, and the other thing they told him, which was very interesting, they said, you're going to feel colder than you usually would. And I don't think I would have survived that because I don't deal well with the cold. And to feel colder than you usually would, I mean, can you imagine? So Marcelina says, I thought my legs had frozen off. I looked down to make sure my legs were still there because I thought they had frozen off. And then they said that they levitated them. And of course, the left brain is asking, well, where are all the other campers? Is anyone else seeing this? What's going on? Like, how could anyone not see 9 people levitated into the air?
Yeah.
I think it's because they opened a zendra and they were inside the zendra. And because they said that it sounded like they were underwater. And this
Yeah.
is something people report, right? To sound like they're
Inside the
underwater.
zendra, yeah.
And that, gosh, I mean, just incredible. Like they said that they looked up and they could no longer see the trees, but they were seeing UFOs flying around. And then, oh, and then they started chanting,
Oming. Weren't they oming?
yeah, they were started chanting Om. And then a whole bunch of beings appeared, just like Gerardo said, a whole bunch of beings showed up. And they said it was a multitude of beings all around. And they would chant Om to them, and they would chant Om back to them. And it was just like this orchestration of Om all over the place. And then at some point, I don't know how long it would have been, but at some point they go, okay, it's over now. It's all good. Everybody's, frozen solid, whatever, the super cold, and it's time to go back to your tents. It's time to go get rest. And then that was it. And then and she said that she was so cold. She said, I honestly wondered if I would survive the night. We were just freezing. And I think people are finding out that the use of cold for many things is healing and maybe activation, who knows, right? I mean,
And they mentioned, I remember when we were talking to them, some of them are so scared they actually just packed up their tent and left. And they didn't have any idea how long the event had taken place, and that they could hear they could still, when they're in the tent, they could still hear beings walking around. Wasn't that correct?
yeah, I think they could still hear them walking around. Yes.
Yeah. And so that was like and to remind people, you can see what an amazing story this is. Like, what kind of UFO story have you got that'll match this? There's nothing that matches this.
And the fact that it happens right there in Sand Flat, you don't, because that's where Paula had the
Yeah.
initial encounter with Antarell in 2014. You don't have to be, and in fact, where Marcelina and these folks saw the lights in the trees was very near the place where Paula was taken to meet Antarell for the first time by those same trees. So it doesn't have to be. I think it's more like, are you open, right? Are you open, and are you going to be afraid, or are you going to be open and receptive to, you don't have to go high up to the peak of the peak of the peak, you can just
Yeah.
be right there.
And we should remind people, like I've always defied people that will talk about, evil aliens and stuff. And I always say, I defy you to take Mission Rama and describe any of them that ever saw a gray reptilian or a mantid coming out of a zendra. There's not. It's more of a spiritual type of thing, that it's this idea of reflective, that the phenomenon is reflective of what you believe. So if you're in fear, you're going to see a very scary type of being. But if you're in a spiritual state, which Mission Rama is, it's like a whole weekend. I remember when I was with Enrique, and it was like Saturday morning, we're doing yoga, and it's like, hold this position for 3 seconds, hold this position for 3 minutes, hold this position. And I told Enrique, I said, Enrique, if it had been dark, I would have gone home. I didn't come here to do meditation and oming and praying and doing all these stances. But that was the thing. It's like, it's a different sort of thing than it's not an entertainment thing. It's a people trying to be very spiritual and trying to interact with beings that are at a higher vibrating level than they are. And that's why I say, like, if you go and you'll never see reptilians or mantids, that sort of thing. And it's this idea that's reflective of what you believe.
Exactly. I will say, sorry that I enter into the conversation. That is completely, I agree what you said, Grant. And depending on how you higher are you vibration, is that connecting to the other beings. And like, since I've been there in Mount Shasta and I've been having my experiences, I'm more receptive to see UFOs around me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's almost like the hitchhiker effect, that you had not had a sighting before, correct? Before this, you'd never had any encounter with aliens or UFOs. And that's the thing. It's like it's sort of like, once you're in it, then it opens you up and then you're able to see it, correct?
yeah,
Yeah. Let's
correct.
see what other photographs we got here. This is, I tell you, Kat, we have to do something with this. You can talk to these people over there, going to do a book. Somebody has to do something. Oh, there's Kat there. She's on the other tree now. She's
See,
and
I
you can
think that's the same spot. Believe it or not, I looked at the trees and it's the same tree that where she was standing before, but now she's facing toward the shadow, like she's getting ready
yeah.
to go back, maybe.
And you can see the shadow is much bigger than she is, which means the
Yes.
light is coming from below, not above.
Yes.
So
It's just
and
amazing.
there
I
we've
looked
got the
at it too.
video. I mean, we can get better. You've got the actual video, but we can get better photographs. I don't know why I've got this little tiny thing on here, but here's the rose ceremony, and
And
there
there
she is
she is
off on
standing in the background. See that
she's
she's
off in the background there.
and the shadow's not there at that time. She's
Yeah,
just there
yeah,
without the
that's the
shadow.
first
Yeah.
photograph. And this looks like a mass shooting or something. So you always have to explain to people. You always have to explain to people what a rose ceremony is.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
what the thing is when you go there, you don't really realize you think it's like we're going to be looking at UFOs, but there's a lot of preparation that takes a couple of days in order for the event to happen. And if you know that Ricardo will talk about, they had one, I think at Crestone, where he said to Paula, nothing's coming. These people aren't ready. And this is the whole idea is that you need to prepare. This isn't a game that goes on here. That if you're available and you're open and everybody does all the meditations and this sort of thing, then it will happen. But if the people are, what's like in Skywatches where people are shooting the lasers around and you're talking and stuff like that, and that's what they want. They want you to meditate and they want you to do that kind of stuff to raise your vibration rather than it's like it's not a football game.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for the Peruvians through the decades that went out at 3 in the morning into the middle of the desert, freezing their asses off, right?
Yeah.
Just spending the night out there. And they also go through that thing where they want you to go out there alone to face your fears,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, where you
And
go from
and
the trees, everybody goes in the dark.
and they would hear these metallic sounds and weird sounds, and they really went through the rigorous boot camp. It's like the fifth dimensional boot camp.
Yeah. And it is a scary place because it's very cold at night. It's warm during the day, but at night it goes below freezing and it's people cannot believe how dark it is. I mean, you can just walk into a tree. You don't even see the tree coming. It's
Yeah.
really, really dark.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
describe who this is the leader, this was the one that the intuitive, the one that was sort of running the event there.
She was one of the two women. So her, the architect in LA, and another woman together somehow. I don't know how. I don't know that story. How the three of them came together, but um, and Heidi's. This is interesting. Heidi's business, I think, is called Punto Cero, which is 0 point. And the
Oh,
Keys of Enoch always talks about 0 point energy, 0 point.
yeah.
And so I'm not really sure how, but I think her work has to do with DNA activation and
And she's from Mexico City, right?
yeah.
Yeah, she was one of the three people that we interviewed for, and we haven't, I guess we'll have to somehow get a transcript of
She
that
was the
interview.
one that said that she was writing a book. She was going to write
Yeah,
a
you'll
book.
have to find out what they're doing with this because it's almost like the idea where it says in the Bible, to whom much is given, much is expected, or what profit of the man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul. It's sort of like this amazing story. And you go like, so many people who have to tell this story. It's the most amazing story I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, and you know the DNA activation with the rose petals, right? Like that came on very suddenly because Jan was literally in he had opened his car door to take out the tent because I had said we should camp out here tonight. He was about to take out the tent so we could set it up. And then everybody said, "Oh, the DNA activation's right now, it's happening right now. We have to hike up to the place with the trees." And so at that point, he shut the door. We went and did the DNA activation. And then, as you said, it got so dark so fast, you couldn't see in front of your face that it got pitch black. And then it was like the people who had set up their tents already were the people who camped out. And those were 9 people. And when
Oh,
you think
okay.
about the downloads from the nine and the Council of Nine
Yeah.
and then the mystery of the number nine, I think that the nine had to be the nine.
Yeah, it could be. Could be.
And somehow we were witnesses or something, I don't know. And Adama's probably laughing because he's probably like, well, you wouldn't have liked the cold situation anyways.
Yeah. Interesting. This is the fellow from I think it's from San Francisco who told me this is where he said there was as many beings as there was trees in the forest.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. When he said that, I was holy cow.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I hope I'm not like, Marcelina's husband, Javier, he had a health issue not long. I mean, it's been maybe a couple of years now, but, he grew up eating a lot of meat. A
Oh yeah.
lot of meat. He had grown up on a farm. He was a big meat eater, just pretty much ate meat. And that health issue, I think, caused him to do a 180 with his diet. And I can't confirm right now how he is or how it's going, but I have a feeling that the experience they had, that the thing he experienced may have not been an accident, where he's probably very different now.
Wow. Here again is a back shot. You can see the being on the edge of the forest there. And let's see what else. Too bad there's a close-up sort of. You can see the shadow is much bigger than but I got the same impression as you. It does look like a woman, even though you can't really tell. It does
Isn't that
almost like the
weird? It's just a
Mother
feeling,
Mary or
right?
something.
It's a weird feeling. It's just a feminine feeling
Yeah,
from
it does. That definitely. There you can see the
Gerardo.
shadow.
Gerardo, do you feel like a feminine feeling from the being too?
Yes, and what I will say is that sometimes they don't have like a physical body that we can
Yeah,
relate it
yeah,
because they are part of the energy. I had pictures also where I see beings with no physical body, with just the energy the same way. But I definitely can feel like this is a woman.
yeah. And
Mhm.
you can see at the bottom of the tree, this is what Kat was talking about a little bit earlier, whether it's a portal or what it is, but the bottom of the
Yeah.
tree is completely different color. There's something in front of that tree, but it's
It
hard to
looks
tell
like
what
a
it is.
cube, like a cube.
Yeah,
And I just want to mention that when Ricardo was in the Pyrenees in 28, I want to say it was in 2018, um uh he said that in all his years of contact and with all of his experience of contact, he himself was utterly shocked when suddenly everybody was divided in two. Everybody had their counterpart next to themselves, and it was very shocking to see yourself next to yourself. And in that event, somebody saw a tesseract in the forest,
wow.
and just like kind of like that cube, and said, "Oh, look, there's a tesseract." And then the message was, "Don't touch it. Don't go near it. Don't do anything with the cube." But my feeling was, what if the message there was trying to say, "Do you see yourself next to yourself? This is how in an instant you can be separated, your 3D from your higher D in an instant, and it will seem as real. The you that is next to you is as real as the you that you are."
Wow.
But when the time comes, they're able to extract. The cat is going crazy. They're able to extract you from your, like, I just kind of like maybe that message that it won't be that difficult to take you from this and and now you're this, but you're still you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like you're not the puppet. It's the big expression is remember who you actually are. You're
Yeah.
not the puppet on the stage.
Yeah.
Here's the beginning of the video that she pans across these people and then pans back. So you can see the first one where the being is standing by the tree, and then the second one with the shadow, which sort of shows. And that's about a minute and 10 seconds in between those two shots in the video. And they have the video. And I just find this, and this happens on the correct? This happens on the afternoon before the levitation, which would be Gerardo's
Yeah.
event would have
Yeah. So
happened the
the
night
yeah.
before this, right?
Yeah, so this was, and it was actually getting to be evening because by the time we were done with this and we got out, it was already dark. So this
Yeah.
was already getting to be evening. And yeah, so at 2 in the morning, the 9 people who had set up their tents, they're the ones that had the experience.
Wow.
And right there in San Flat, right there in the open area,
Yeah.
right there. So the message is, if they say come to the trees, go. So that
Yeah. It's actually kind of an ominous thing. Like when you go there, when you've heard these stories and you go there, and it's almost like going to Jerusalem or something. It's like this holy place where you hear these stories of this happened in this spot. It's this one spot on the mountain, and yet when we stayed at an Airbnb down at the bottom the night before we went up there, The woman told us, she said there's all sorts of groups that go up there, not just Mission Rama people. It's considered to be a holy mountain by quite a few different groups that go up there to do meditation. But this is always where Enrique goes, and Ricardo and Sixto Paz always use this event, and this is where you were as well. And it's called the Sand Flats, and I think it's Sand Flats, and I think it's up at 4,000 feet. And the events that take place at the waterfall and stuff like that, those events are even higher, where you actually go higher up into the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is this. So I guess that is about it. Any final comments? Oh, here's the video. Hang on, let's start this again. Here's the actual video. So this is the beginning of the video. You can see the being on the left there. Now we'll play the video here. So it's panning around here. See, there's the sun. It looks like everybody thought that might be the UFO.
Yeah, the sun was setting already.
Llevamos esta nueva vibración a cada lugar del planeta,
There's this sun flare.
conectando las memorias del sol, los maestros, hermanos mayores del sol.
And then the shadows there.
There's the being. Yeah.
8,
Yeah.
9, 10. Hebra número 11. Número 12. Ahora mi corazón, mi mente y mi alma están reconectadas en una sola frecuencia de amor.
So she's in the video, she's talking about how now we've reached our 12th strand and everything is connected in the vibration of love.
Directamente a mí.
So it was like a 12
Te doy el
DNA
permiso.
12 DNA activation, I think.
Yeah. It's fascinating story.
Cero, aunque no sepa cómo hacerlo y lo hago.
It is, I say it's the best story there is, bar none. It's like, so how do we want to end this? So are you still having the events now, Gerardo?
Yes, I still having events. I gather people, and we go and I take them to places where, besides the cascade, there are more like portals have been opened since then. It's not just one; there are many, and different places at the city. Even though in the city, right there in the downtown, there is one open. And yeah, still taking people. And I said to the people, like, sorry, my dog is growing. See this. If you don't believe that, like, can be like a spiritual trip, think that this is like a tourism activity, and come and enjoy nature and see what's happened then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But make sure you dress for overnight. If you're going to camp, make sure you bring clothes.
Yeah.
Can you give us the message? How would you sum this all up in terms of do you believe they want you to put the message out? And if so, what is the message, the overall message that they want you to tell the world?
Keep your mind open. Keep your heart also open. Try to open your third eye.
Yeah.
So, and connect with love. With the energy of love. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Yeah,
And
love
the binaural beats is important, I think, because they keep saying that however way you balance the two hemispheres, whether you do it through sound or binaural beats or whatever method you use, that it's very important to balance the left and the right brains and to balance them together. And you know, people have different ways of doing it, I guess, but
yeah, and that's my work with the humanity, is like just not be just the person sitting watching the rest of the people killing each other or doing activities. So my work is like helping them to connect with themselves and also with the higher being. And that's one of the reasons that I take the people to the mountain, so they can have their own experiences and their own way to go and connect with the higher people over there.
Yeah.
And how would people contact? Do you have a website?
No, I have my Facebook page.
And
Is
you have YouTube too, right? YouTube.
And I have a YouTube channel. Is Vidal Blogs. Is my YouTube channel, and my Facebook page is Linicio Vidal, and so they can contact me through either one.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and Grant, I can send you those links if you
Yes.
want.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we'll stick that up and then
Mhm.
find out what's going to happen with this thing, whether they're going to do something. Have they got Gerardo, have they got your story? The people that are sort of had the levitation and stuff, are they aware of you that you've had these events, or is this the first time you're telling these stories?
I'm aware. I've been sharing the stories in my channel, and at the beginning I was like, they don't gonna believe me, and the voice in my brain, like telepathic way, said, "Is this is your work? This is what you hear. You are a seed from the universe, star seed,
Darcy.
and this is your work that you had to help other people to see what is the reason that they came, and be connected." Yeah, so, and this is gonna be something that I'm gonna continue doing every year. Like now in September, I'm gonna have a trip to Mount Shasta, taking people not just to one place, to different places around it, and helping them to connect with the beings. And also, every time that I go over there, I have pictures of UFOs. Sometimes it's not just one; it's like a line of UFOs, and this is amazing, that experience. So I'm gonna invite everyone that wants to be in the mountain. Feel free to contact me or contact Estrella Cat, and so we can help them to connect with the
Yeah.
mountain.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, my dream is to just go to the animal section because I wanna find out if their cats are telepathic or what is the deal with the
Well,
cats. Like
Gerardo will ask for you. He'll get the information for you. And there's a lot of people that have asked me about going. So there are events. Does Ricardo and Enrique still do events there at Mount Shasta?
Yeah, Ricardo was told that this year to go to Sedona. Ironically, Sedona seems to be a place where people get,
Yeah.
and that next year something else, and that in 2027, or 2028, I'm sorry, 2028, um, I think it's 2028 or 2027. I don't remember now, but that yes, that we're supposed to go back to Mount Shasta to confirm that we changed the timeline with because there's the talk about the asteroid hit and that but that to confirm that humans through their work were able to shift us into a different timeline where those events did not occur, which is a very positive message, right? That we've been doing the work, and so we have been able to change these events. So it's very exciting. And Enrique, yes, he's having an event. I think not at Mount Shasta, but somewhere near there this summer,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, and I will say that I'm gonna add to that. In my case, personal case, sometimes the beings are telling me you had to go also to Arizona, and they are telling me you had to go over there. But I'm more sometimes you don't know. Sometimes they can be very like pushing, and I'm like but I'm like I'll say okay, okay, okay. So for me, it's more easier to go to Mount Shasta, to go to Sedona.
Oh yeah, and especially in the climate, the political climate that we're living in, right? I mean,
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
very difficult now. I mean, come on. Like,
Yeah, and it's funny that they are super pushy, and sometimes I'm like, okay, but give me the people, try to help me to find the right people to go. Yeah, that's one of these things. And the other thing is that no matter where you are, after you have the first contact, they are with you. They found you. You don't have to go to Mount Shasta after that. If you are in China, you are in Hawaii, they contact you wherever you are. And the people think that, oh, it's only one portal. No, they are open and closing. They are open and closing different portals and all over the world. That's one of the things that, hey, Heidi went to Hawaii to open up, like helping to one of the portals. And people go to Sedona the same way, the same activations. And it's like a collective group of people working together at the
Yeah.
end of the story.
Wow. Well, I'm honored to have been involved. It was actually Kat that talked me into this many years ago when she asked me to go and meditate on a mountain. And as I told her, I've got nothing against meditation. I got nothing against mountains, but I don't think I want to drive across the country to meditate on a mountain. And I went, and my life has been totally changed, almost like Gerardo, yours, and probably Kat's as well, where it sort of flips you. And I think this is one of the most ignored groups in the world. The Latinos have a lot that they can teach people, this Mount Shasta story, and so I'm grateful to have been involved, and I'm very thankful to Kat for setting all this up, and Gerardo for coming on. And as I said, I've been looking for you for a couple of years to do an interview. I've sort of heard bits and pieces of your story, and I thought, wow, we got to talk to this guy. I mean, it's like the most amazing story. There are none that even come close, and I've been in this. Next month will be 50 years I've been in this, and there is no story that's as bizarre as this one of
And
2020.
but your Charlie Red Star was connected. I am telling you, the Charlie Red Star, I don't remember where in the book, but it was like the 7 and the 3, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna take, was it 3 steps and film for 7
7
minutes?
seconds.
I mean,
Seconds.
yeah, I mean 7 seconds. Yeah. And when
Yeah.
I read that, I was like, that's a code. The 3-7 is a code, and it all
Yeah.
circles back. Somehow it all circles
Yeah.
back
We've
to
all got our mission, and we're being, I'm glad that you've doing your mission, and I'll continue to do mine, and we'll try to, elevate the consciousness so that we can move along and have a better world.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. And we'll maybe
Yes.
be in touch again over if we got some questions and stuff. This will be on my YouTube and on my um, podcast where we'll play this. And there will probably be a few people who want to go to Mount Shasta. They've always talked to me about it. So now they have another option with yours where they can go with you. And you do it September's, correct?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it in September. I'm looking the dates because now the mountain is like a full of snow. And the point for the specific point is take them to some points over the mountain, the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
So that's why I had to wait.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's
Thank you
Kat.
very much, both of you. And we'll talk again soon.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. Okay.
Bye
Beautiful.
bye.
You're like,